Greetings, space travelers. Welcome home. You've just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and we'll be going ahead and broadcasting to you on our terrestrial affiliates in North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Odyssey Radio. Remember, you can access our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Our website is Spaced Out Radio, where the options are endless. You can stay up to date with the SOR Newswire. Get yourself some officially official Spaced Out swag, plus rock on out to some Bumblefoot and so much more. We have another awesome show tonight. Happy Sunday. Glad that you guys can be with us tonight. We are on the last day of After Hours, right before we get into the week with Dave Scott, Monday through Friday. Once again, we do this 7 days a week here, Spaced Out Radio. We attempt to bring you the best content that we can, and tonight is no exception. We will be bringing in our guest tonight, Margie K and Debbie Ziegelmeyer, talking MUFON, remote viewing, just a plethora of other things that we'll be jumping into tonight. And your questions are important, so we're going to make sure that we get your questions. Just make sure whenever you have them, we may not address them right at the moment, but they will be asked at the end of the second hour. So make sure to put those in all caps so we can go ahead and get those in. So let me go ahead and take a look at who has come in and who takes the gold, the silver, and the bronze position tonight. I know Race Fan may have sent this to me, so let me go ahead and see what Race Fan says. I got to go with Race Fan says, man. Race Fan is on top of it, and it looks like Race Fan is going to be the gold winner. Always the gold winner for sure. So we got Race Fan with gold. We got Light Walkers bringing in that silver, and we have Jennifer Patterson coming in with the bronze. So Race Fan says, good evening, Rob, and First Wrench in, like always, Race Fan. You're always on time, and we do appreciate that. We do appreciate your support, and yeah, we just love it. So we also have Light Walker saying, hello, Robbie G and SOR friends. Looks like another fantastic show tonight, and you couldn't be more correct. Let's see, Light Walkers, we have Jennifer Patterson. Good evening, everyone. Remote viewing is one of my favorite topics. Let's have fun riding the Woo train tonight. And yeah, I'm totally intrigued with remote viewing. You know, we always talk about the capabilities that we have that are that we haven't unlocked, and you know, we'll get into it. But there was a time in my life when I didn't think something like that was possible, and I thought that was probably on the far end of things, but the more that we find out and the more that we uncover, and from my own experiences, anything ends up being possible, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. So thank you for coming in, Jennifer Patterson. We do have a Tamothman sighting saying hello, everyone, throwing up the horns with the alien head emoji. Welcome, Tamothman. Thank you for coming on in. We appreciate you. We have Violet Wisdom. So looking forward to this. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That's the energy. That's the energy that we want tonight. And I do appreciate you coming on in, Violet Wisdom. If you are new, I definitely want to just welcome you to Spaced Out Radio and thank you for coming on in tonight. Like I said, 7 days a week here. We put on great shows and we would love to have you here. So thanks for coming tonight. We do have Nicola Perry Jr. Greetings and salutations, fellow space travelers, and Mr. Rob G, the man with the Sunday night plan. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that, Nicola. Definitely, and I do appreciate you coming on in. Thank you so much. We have Roger Murray dropping some facts on us, like always. February 9th, 1964 through 2024, 60th anniversary. The Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. Nice to know, man. Definitely appreciate that data. Let's see, who else do we have coming in? We have Carl Bittner saying, hiya, Rob, and all of you spacey after hour spaced out peeps. Thank you for coming on in, Carl Bittner. Thanks for joining us. We should have a great conversation tonight. It's always about learning and, picking up new data, trying to put these puzzle pieces together. And I think tonight's conversation, we will definitely be doing some of that. So let's see. We also have, Lars Jansen. Lars Jansen saying good morning all. Say good morning to Lars Jansen. Good morning, Lars Jansen. Thanks for joining us. Let's see who else we have. We have the Wildberry Candy Co. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Wildberry Candy Co. Thank you for showing up. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. We got Kurt M saying hi all. Caps hi all. So that it's a little louder than I'm doing it now. But hey, Kurt, thanks for coming on in. We appreciate you. Catherine Jones, hi everyone. Miss Catherine Jones, thank you for coming on in. We do appreciate you showing up tonight. Spaced Out Radio After Hours. Who else do we have? We have Paula Faust with the Spock hand. That's the Spock hand with the alien head emoji saying hello everyone. Hello, Paula Faust. Thank you for coming in. Let's see. We do also have Jessica McCreary saying hello everyone. Hello, Jessica. Thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate you. We do have Laura Lobbs. Laura Lobbs saying hello, hello. Right back to you, Laura Lobbs. Thank you for coming on in tonight. Let's see. Who else do we have? We're getting down the list. And we have Paranormal Pixie Laura saying hi, everyone. Hello, Paranormal Pixie. Thank you for coming and joining us tonight. We have Christine, and she's saying, it's Robbie G time. Yeah, it's after hours time. We're going to have, like I said, great guests tonight. Great conversation. We always have great conversations, but it's always intriguing to be able to talk to different individuals and add to this puzzle that we're putting together. Because I think, there'll be a point where where we've laid all the groundwork for this, and we have so much data that is just that you can't say anything about it, right? That you can't deny what it is that we're dealing with and what we're going through here. So thank you, Christine, for coming in. We do have Van Gold saying, hey, SOR family, we are family. Van Gold, a.k.a. Lovely Love, a.k.a. Dr. Love. Thank you for coming on in, Van Gold. We do appreciate you. Thank you. Who else do we have here? We have Mary R. saying good evening to you, Mary R. Thank you for coming on in Spaced Out Radio After Hours. We have Nalacious saying yay right back to you. Glad that you are excited to get into the conversation, as am I tonight. Do appreciate you coming in. And we got Robin M saying hey Rob. So we got Robin and then Rob. Hey Rob, just finished Jessica Jones' show. She sent me here. Thank you very much, Cryptid Huntress. And yes, you know Cryptid Huntress every Sunday, right before the after hours. So 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, every single Sunday. So you get into Jessica Jones, and then right after that, come right on over to After Hours to continue your viewing pleasure and your enlightenment process, really. Is what we'll call it. It's what it is. And let's see, who else do we have? We have Silent Listen. Just came in from sky watching. We saw those same lights again that Melinda Leslie sees. Isn't it amazing what you see when you just look up and watch the sky, right? They're up there all the time. They're up there all the time. If you have the right equipment, if you're lucky enough, you can get a bare eye sighting. But I'm a big sky watcher. I like going out to do that. And I want to get a psionics camera so I can get out there because most people that I know that have one report that they see things pretty often. And I would like to experience that too. I've had my own sighting, but I would love to see more, obviously. Who else do we have here? We have X Scapegoat Powerful Healer. Okay, that's a powerful name right there. Do appreciate you coming in. Seems like you may be new. If you are, definitely want to welcome you over to Spaced Out Radio. We do appreciate you coming on in. Thank you very much for showing up. And let's see. Okay, we got Brown Dwarf. Brown Dwarf sighting. Good evening. And Brown Dwarf, we have to link up and talk more about that whole Scientology thing. And maybe we can meet up out there at the Big Blue building in Los Angeles. So we'll talk further on that, Brown Dwarf. Be on the lookout. I'll be reaching out. And thank you for coming on in and joining us tonight. Let's see. We have Facebook user. Okay, we're getting it started. This Facebook user has stepped in the building saying, hi, Rob. Watching you on both Facebook and YouTube. Awesome. Double the views, double the viewing pleasure. Hopefully double the enlightenment and double the intrigue as we have double the guests tonight. So that's just the theme for the night. So should be pretty awesome. Can't wait to get into it, guys. Who else do we have? Paul Damon. Paul Damon saying, good evening to all. Good evening right back to you, Paul Damon. Thank you for coming on in. And we got, let's see, Alex Sanchez saying, you're. Okay, I like your. Says it all in one word, you're. I got it. Appreciate you coming on in, Alex Sanchez. I do appreciate you supporting Space Out Radio. Let's see, we got Midnight Squatchers saying good evening with the cool glass emoji and the peace sign emoji. Midnight and then Squatcher. I don't know if I could do it. That's the wrong time of the day if I'm going to go out trying to look for something. Can't be at night because there are reasons that I wouldn't do it. But thank you for coming on in, and we do appreciate you, what you do and your support of Spaced Out Radio. We have Kira I Am saying, YouTube playing tricks on me and was hiding this video. So weird. Yeah, it is because I've kind of did some editing on the Spaced Out Radio site over the last month where the most recent video or the live video should be at the top of the list. So if it is not showing up, we'll have to look into that. Thanks for coming, Kira I Am. Let's see, we have... Who else do we have? We're pretty much almost down. Okay, we got Spiraling 69. Happy to tune into the show tonight. So glad to hear that, Spiraling 69. Like I say, sounds like you may be new, don't recognize your name. If so, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on in, and we'd love to have you back. So thank you very much. We got Aloha Dave. Aloha Dave saying, Buenos noches de Mexico. So good evening from Mexico. We do appreciate you coming on in and getting your viewing eyes. So appreciate you. We got SG Now Spotter 310 saying hello SOR with alien head emoji spaceship. Alien head emoji spaceship. We love it. Thanks for coming on in. Skip to Malou. Skip to Malou. Saying, hi, Tim. Ask a peeps to send a message further until we meet. Okay, maybe personal message. Thank you for coming on in, though. I do appreciate that. Let's see. Jacqueline D. Another new name. Hello, Earthlings. We do appreciate you for coming in, Jacqueline. Thank you for showing up, and hopefully you love the show tonight. We really hope so. We got Lil Cam 51 saying you need to get the social dig here on Twitch. Doing that tonight, Lil Cam 51 for sure. I'm gonna have to write that down. Social dig will be on Twitch starting this upcoming Wednesday. So appreciate you coming in and that information. Thank you very much. We got CS saying greetings. Greetings, CS. Thank you so much for coming on in. Let's see. We are almost there. Robin M. Yeah, I did Robin M. Yeah, but hey, Robin M. Just going to say hey again. We got Deb from Sacramento. Hey, everyone, and welcome Margie K. and Debbie Ziegelmeyer. They're both here with us tonight. And let's see. Who else do we have? Presidential Zaddy saying salute Rob G. F you, Dave. Dave Scott, if you're watching, Presidential Zaddy just sent you a message here. We appreciate you coming on in. Thanks for your support. Bob Berkins. Hello, Bob. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. Paula Faust, thank you for joining us. Magneticus saying, what up, all? Thank you for coming tonight. Magneticus. Let's see, who else do we have here? Flat Six. Flat Six has shown up. Thank you for coming on in, saying hello, everyone. Thank you, Flat Six. Let's see. We are almost there. Quantum Momentum is in the building saying, what's the purpose of hybrids? I don't know. Maybe we can pose that question. I'll star that for you right now. That'll be one of the first questions that we ask tonight for sure. We got Mr. Drew Banky in the building. Drew Banky, what up, bro? What's up? Right back to you, bro. Do appreciate you coming in. You got to go back and watch the episode from last night. Me and Drew, man, gets deep, some really heavy stuff, and Drew's a really good dude. So you guys go back if you missed that. Go back and watch. If you even watched it, watch it again. There's so much data there to absorb. It's definitely a good show to check mark and put in your playlist. Let's see, we got who else? We are almost done. River Dog Pitbull, thank you for coming on in. We appreciate you. Let's see. Drew Banky, I'm starring this right here. Drew Banky says, tell Margie I said what's up. We're going to do that. I'm going to star that, and we're going to definitely let Margie know that Drew Banky said what's up for sure. Let's see. What else do we have here? Got you. They were looking pretty good. Assault Rifle Omen saying, okay, like that. Thank you for coming on in tonight. And more keep coming in, and that's good. I mean, we love that. We love the new viewers. We appreciate you all. Our return viewers, we appreciate you too. We want to put on the best show that we can, and tonight I think will be another example of that. As I get to the bottom of this list, we already have a super chat coming in from Deb from Sacramento, saying a big welcome to Margie K and Debbie Ziegelmeyer for sure. We got Paramarv saying howdy, folks. Thank you, Paramarv. Let's see. Sandra Heath, thank you for coming in. And chat is moving fast tonight, which is great. So I anticipate a lot of participation. Lala Bright, thank you for coming on in. We appreciate you. And let's see. Okay, yeah, looks like that is current. Bob Berkins, yes, we got you. Make sure everyone is coming. Okay. Kim Jellin, thank you for coming on in. And Wu Chain Riders DG, Derek Galloway, Betrayal's a dish best served cold. William Wallace, you'll forever be the Scotsman. Freedom. Okay, I'm not really sure what that means, DG. I'm sure you'll let me know. Appreciate you. All right, we are all caught up, and I'm really glad that you guys all came in and showed your love. You know, because like I said, we do this 7 days a week, and it is cool to know that you appreciate what it is that we do and that you enjoy the content that we put on here at Spaced Out Radio. So, we're going to go ahead and get into it with our guests here tonight. We have a couple guests here. They both are actually MUFON state directors, which is awesome because there are a lot of things that we can talk about with MUFON. And I know that Debbie's also, or Margie's a private investigator and remote viewer. And yeah, we're going to be asking a lot of questions. I want you guys to get your questions together. Make sure you put them in all caps so I can check them off. Yeah, and let's no further delay. Let's go ahead and bring our guests in. We have tonight Margie K and Debbie Ziegelmeyer. Thank you for joining us, ladies. How are you?
Doing good.
All
Hi,
right, all
thank
right.
you for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all. Like I say, what we trying to do here, and I'll tell you, we have a list. Well, I put a list out probably a couple months ago because my whole thing is I wanted to make sure that we get guests that the viewers want to see, and you guys definitely both came up on the list. So it was imperative that we reached out and got you guys on the show here. So our viewers are already in love with you guys. So we appreciate what you do. So here's how I like to start my interviews, especially if we are just talking for the first time. What as far as ufology itself, if you're an experiencer or not, what kind of led you into this space and where you ended up at today? Did you have sightings as a young child, experiences? I don't know if you guys would mind going into the story that brought you here today.
Debbie, why don't you go first?
Oh, thank you. And, let me see. Um, I grew up in a small town in Arizona with a very vivid sky. Not a lot to do, about 75 miles north of Mexico. So I grew up in Safford, Arizona. And I had a science teacher who had a telescope, was interested in the stars, and he would bring it out every other weekend, and we'd go to the football field, and he'd tell us about the sky. And I think that's kind of what really piqued my interest in stars. I'd sneak out in the middle of the night, climb up the wall, and lay on the top of the garage roof and watch the stars and dream about what was out there.
Mm. Yeah, it's pretty epic, right? When you're laying on your back and you have a real clear sky to look at, and it just seems like it's 3D, like you can almost reach out into it, and that's an amazing visual right there. How about you, Margie? What kind of got you into this?
Well, as a young child, I also was always looking at the stars. And when I was about 15 years old, I was sitting on my porch late at night by myself, and I looked up and I just thought, where am I from? Because it's not from here.
Right.
And so that just kind of, I was thinking about what else is out there, who else is out there, and are they visiting us? And then I had a pretty big sighting when I was 17 years old, and along with my entire family, and that got me interested in UFOs for sure.
Wow. Okay. And so you had a sighting with your family, so multiple observers. That's like
Yeah.
my sighting. I was lucky enough. The only one that I've had, I was lucky enough to have with other family members that could validate it, vouch for it, and I had video. What happened in your case? Anything wild, or did you see a light, or what was it?
We were driving to Texas, and we were driving from Kansas City, and we had hit Oklahoma when somebody, I don't know who, in the family said, "Oh, what is that?" I was driving the car. My mother was in the passenger seat, and my brother and sister were in the back seat. And we all looked over, and to our right, not very far away, you know, I probably within 1,000 feet, is this large cylinder, a silver cylinder with no windows, no tail. We're looking for everything. And my mother says, that's got to be a plane. Well, it has no wings or tail. So what is it? And so I sped the car up to about 85 miles an hour. It paced with us, and I slowed way down, and it slowed down. And the next thing we knew, and this was about 3:30 in the afternoon, daylight, right, in the middle of summer. Next thing we knew, it was dark, and we were at a motel, and none of us knew how we got there.
That sounds wild right there. I've often wondered because I'm a person that experiences sleep apnea and things like that, and obviously we could write off just waking up somewhere at a later time to something like that. But I've often also wondered if any of those events may have been some sort of lost time sort of situation like what you're explaining. This year, 2024, I vowed that this is the year for me for regression just for those very reasons. With you both are state directors for MUFON in Missouri. Is that correct? Okay.
Debbie's the state director, and I'm the assistant state director.
Oh, nice. Okay, so
Missouri.
great. So we have some real good questions. I mean, and I have great questions for MUFON, but I would want to know. Obviously, this probably your sighting, your experiences are the reasons why you were led into wanting to investigate the phenomena. I guess I don't know if you could kind of fill us in on what made you decide to actually take that step to become what you are within MUFON.
Well, let's see. What makes it even more interesting right now is I have a Psionics Aurora camera.
I want one. I want one bad.
I have had this since Christmas of 2018. And Margie could tell you some of the things that we have picked up on this camera. I have some phenomenal unidentified objects. What got me started? I've had several sightings over the years. The first one was probably 2000. Let's see, when I went in 2000, it was a 1979, and then 2007 another sighting. And then that's one reason why I got involved with MUFON. And then since MUFON, it's just been incredible. I mean, Margie and I in 2011 went through a UFO flap. And together, the two of us have gotten into more trouble. we end up, when the two of us get together, we end up with vortexes and missing time and sightings. And if you want to see something, you come to Missouri and you hang out with us. Right, Margie?
Yeah, that's for sure.
If you want to give him some more detail, but we could go on here for hours and you wouldn't believe the things that we have experienced.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted to get into too. So I mean, you're more than welcome. I mean, especially being at the level that you guys are at within MUFON for your state, it would be intriguing to know. I mean, because you're on the inside there, and I'm sure you looked at your bio. You both have investigated so many different sightings and cases. And what I guess what would be one of the things, if you're able to tell, that you came across as an investigator that really blew your mind or maybe even scared you to like, whoa, what is this? What's really going on? Do you have any of those?
Oh, yeah. I think we could talk about that one in Versailles, Debbie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she and I went on that. This was a close encounter with a family of three very, very close encounter, and ETs on the property, a landing site. Debbie went to the site with the homeowner of the landing and found evidence there. You want to talk about the evidence that you found?
Well, first of all, he and actually He had an older son, but the older son, I think, was 17, wasn't interested. The mother wasn't really interested. The 10-year-old boy and the father, both about 1:30 in the morning, looked outside and they could see what looked like an upside down triangle flashing. So when Margie was interviewing the mom and I believe the little boy,
Yeah.
I went with the father and he had his dog with him, and he said, "Well, I was about 50 feet to the back of the yard over to the right. There was a small creature, maybe about 4 foot tall, standing. He had something in his hand and a bag sitting on the ground in front." And I said, "What made you notice him?" And he said, "Well, deer stampeded by, and my 10-year-old son and I looked over, and that's when we saw him." So I looked at my son and I said, "Run." And I turned around and he was already headed back to the house. So,
Right.
and then they watched from the back porch and he was telling me about where this craft was. So he and I went to walk out in that area and the dog was following us. And we got to where he said the small creature was standing. The dog backed off and growled a little bit and then made a big circle around and wouldn't walk on that area. And what was this, about 2 days after the incident, I believe, Margie, about 2, 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
What I saw out there was a patch of ground that was probably like 6 foot by, I would say, 4 foot square patch of ground. And the leaves had not only been pushed away from it, but the ground was moved. And it seemed like all the grass was sucked up. You could just see all the little holes where grass were. And it was cold out. Yeah, so it's not like there was anybody trying to mow or anything. This is out in the back of the woods, so something had been there. And
Hmm.
I had an old Geiger counter at the time, one of those old civil defense. Now I have a very good Geiger counter, but my compass had a false north. It was not even pointing north. So I found that out there, and then he showed us an area where there were balls of light that were dancing around. But that was interesting to say the least. I mean, well, then we stayed at
Yeah.
night and Margie and I were filming. You can tell about the picture you got, but at the time I had my old Sony Handycam and with
Hmm.
little cassettes. And he said, "There it is, there's a light." And as I went to film, there were lines going across it. There was interference. And we had a helicopter circling us. The neighbor also saw something going
Yeah.
on. So, I mean, there was a lot going on it. This gentleman I walked out with about a quarter of a mile, and we ended up someplace way off and had to call and have Margie come get us.
Yeah, that
Wow.
was weird. Uh, and then, well, that evening, while we're filming the area where he would see balls of light, one came up and it was in the distance. It was a really big, bright white light. And as soon as that came up, I had a really good Sony video camera on a tripod and a good camera. I was taking pictures, the camera was on, and I had, of course, charged my batteries before I left the house. And I watched the battery just go all the way down, drained right then. I got a few shots off, and that was it. There was no batteries. I went to go get extra batteries. They were all dead. And
Yeah.
we're watching this light for at least 30 or 40 minutes. And it just slowly moved across the sky horizontally, not in the direction that stars would. So it wasn't stars moving. We noticed it was just in a straight line horizontally. So there was still things going on a few days after that main sighting.
And what's really sad was he and his wife had bought that property and they were going to build a house on it. They had just a small house. They were going to settle there for the rest of their lives, raise the children in that area. And it was just a few months later, and he was just scared so badly they sold the land and moved. So this does happen a lot that
Mm-hmm.
they just aren't comfortable there anymore.
So with that being said, I mean, okay, with that case, you have a being there. Are there other? I mean, is this a common thing? Do you get a lot of reports of actual beings on the scene, or is it mainly just UFO sightings within MUFON?
What would you say we get a year? We get a lot of, well, we have maybe a couple hundred sighting reports, we'll get a lot of things that are maybe Starlink, Mars, Venus. Not so much anymore. People pretty well know their skies now. We may get what, 6 or 8, maybe? You think more than Margie? You usually get those.
No, I'd say no more than 10 a year where
Right.
there's an actual being involved.
Right.
And some people see, a lot of times people see 3 at once. This seems to be a thing where they travel in 3s,
Yes.
but occasionally just 1. And, there are different types. There's the typical gray type. There's the medium tall gray type that's thinner and has a smaller head and smaller eyes. And then there's a tall gray. But there's also been several, in the past few years of what I would call interdimensional beings rather than extraterrestrials, because they're usually tall, robed, and they're glowing, either a white or a blue color. In one case, a woman saw an all blue being that just phased in from her television set. And so she didn't know, that if that was an extraterrestrial or something else. And those are by far the most interesting cases when that happens, but that's rare. Most of our cases are, like Debbie said, something identifiable or lights in the sky where they may not behave like a plane or anything that we know, or you might rule out ISS. So maybe it's a craft, but it's just not close enough to tell. And in a few cases, we get some real good ones. And like that one in Raytown last year, where this Ring doorbell got this, what looks like a Millennium Falcon craft moving and then morphing out, phasing out into another dimension. It was just awesome. It was all over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that part scares me, the phasing in and phasing out, the interdimensional aspect, and then just people who report that these things may be able to just walk right through a wall, and those sort of things bother me because I had a UFO sighting, and maybe I can show this to you before you guys leave today because I did catch it on film. And with, the knowledge that you would both have from covering so many cases, you are able then to be able to put together what the most common things are about sightings. And I guess if you had to sum it all up, if you looked at all your sightings and you said, okay, this is probably what's going on based on the things that you've gone, like for instance, particular type of crafts, the most common type of crafts, how they most commonly interact with the experiencers, and then potentially even the type of beings based on the reports that might be in these. And then if you even have this data, maybe what the intent are of these, or what these experiencers are feel like the intent is. Have you gotten to a point yet where you're able to kind of look at everything from 10,000 feet and kind of put together what probably is likely going on here?
Well,
Yeah.
not necessarily one type of craft or another. Margie can tell you this, that we had probably 3-4 months in my area. I live in the St. Louis area, where we had people that were reporting the tic tac, large tic tac, maybe 30 foot long. A couple of them were police officers. Then at the same time, over in Margie's area, she's got these strange balls of light. Then you have a large triangle shaped craft. And then you go down south and there's animal mutilations down in the Salem area. And then you go up north a little bit, and it seems like there were more maybe balls of light, I guess, over by Wentzville and O'Fallon. So it changes a lot of times. In the same area, it's maybe the same. Sometimes it's the same thing across the state, and then other times we have a rash, where it's triangle shaped craft, and then we have a rash of different things happening. But it seems like they're more, I guess, confined to one area. Wouldn't you think that if we have a a large amount of the same type of craft. It's all in one area at one time, and then there's something else going on. Very seldom is the same thing going on across the whole state.
Yeah. Yeah. Just in April of 2022, we had a rash of sightings of a very strange craft that was extremely long, very thin in height, and had square windows. And this was seen in Liberty, Excelsior Springs, Kansas City, Blue Springs, and then south. And then we followed several along I-44. And this is, I'd say, the only time we ever had so many sightings of a strange object like that. And there were multiple objects, because we don't believe that they could have been in two places at the same time, although, anything's possible. But it looks like, and the weird thing about this was that almost all of the witnesses said that they felt like they were being observed by like tourists. Like whoever were in these craft were in the windows looking out, and they weren't that far away. In one case, one was only 60 feet away from the people.
Wow.
So they're that close. And oddly, at the same time, right around the same time, Starlink went over. So we were able to identify the Starlink satellites, and it was a new type that is much lower than the older ones. So they look close and they look big. But that we can't confuse that with the ones that were so close. And then nothing since. Nothing like that before or since ever that I know of. Debbie, do you know of any like that? I don't think so.
No, I hadn't really heard of that before. And it was all more centralized to your area, more mid-Missouri west, and maybe some to the south. But I don't think we got any of that in the St. Louis area.
I don't think so.
And then we have in an area by me, it's probably about 35 miles from me. We've been investigating since 2018, and Margie was the very first investigation, where there's these strange balls of light that several neighbors, in fact, we've had a TV crew that they filmed a TV show about it even, but there's balls of light, there's creatures swimming in the water, there's alien craft seen, smaller ones through the trees. I believe, let's see, what else did they have? They found Native American artifacts out in the woods. I mean, it's been strange, but the strangest part about all of it was this ball of light that the crew, my St. Louis crew and I were watching. We were watching these balls of light, and they were coming across Interstate 44, coming across the highway. They would go across the road we were staged on, which was actually Route 66, going low halfway up the trees in January. So, of course, not this past, but January a couple years ago. So they're coming halfway through the trees. So they're going through limbs. These balls of light came over the top of us. And as they got over the top of us, it would kind of half moon with flat and then pulsate. And then they would move on and head off in the distance. When they got to be about 1,000 foot in altitude, all of a sudden it would turn on FAA running lights, a green and a red. But the green light was on the left, the red light was on the right. So it would have had to been flying backward or upside down. So the lights were coming on and they were on the wrong side. Now, this same thing happened in, I believe it was May of 1973, to Harley Rutledge, who was investigating the Piedmont area at the time. And this happened at Farmington Airport. They got a black and white picture of it, but unfortunately nothing in color. I have my little Aurora Psionics camera. I got it in color. And so I have this ball of light turning into what looks like maybe an airplane, but assimilating it with the green light on the left and the red light on the right. And we thought we just had one, and the one just before it did the same thing. And then it kind of phased out. And so I have two of them on videotape doing that from these balls of light. And we would watch with that camera, we could watch the balls of light coming up and going off. And then a little while later, they were just almost one just after the other. I have no idea what they were, but we've kind of triangulated them, and we think they're ending up about 5 miles away. And so we've got 4 sites that we've worked on there. Margie, you were at site 1. We were on a sandbar. We had a creature jump in the water behind us. Just a small creature.
Yeah. And another investigator who was with us, Jean Walker, we had her night vision binoculars. She was looking through them, and she saw a Sasquatch walking in the woods behind us.
Man.
And this is all
and then the ferry that I saw.
Oh,
this
that's
is
right,
on the same.
The
same. We were on the sandbar, and Debbie and I decided to go to get a closer look at something to see if there were house lights that were being misidentified as UFOs. And so we took off, I think in her Jeep, and we left everybody behind on the other side of the sandbar, got out, and we're looking, and we determined that a couple of the lights were actually house lights. They were those dusk to dawn lights outside. But while I'm looking at it through my high-power binoculars, this little creature about maybe 16 inches tall walked out of the trees and went over to this black box on the ground, was messing with it, ran back into the trees, came back out, back and forth several times. And I swear that thing looked like those little creatures in Men in Black that, they're smoking cigarettes, the little worm guys. It looked very similar to that. But what I heard in my mind was fairy.
Okay.
And I don't know, but as a remote viewer, sometimes I pick these things up, psychically, and I'll pick a message up, and that's what I heard. And I just thought that was really weird because of all this stuff going on there. I mean, we haven't even talked about half of it.
Oh, the second time I went back, the homeowner was talking about glows in the water. And he said, well, I went out at night and, I guess it was maybe 7:30 at night because, in the wintertime, it's dark earlier. And there were balls, glows in the water. There were 3 of them about the size of beach balls. And there was 1 in front and 2 to the back. And he goes, well, there's some of those glows right now. Well, I had the old camera, the old Sony camera, not my UnX. And I really couldn't pick up. I picked up the glows, but not real well. And then I was watching it, and the front glow got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then all of a sudden it popped up at the top of the water. It looked like a silver metallic ball, flashed and almost like blinding, and then went back into the water. And it was a glow. So he took his 1,000,000-watt flashlight and put it on these 3, and it looked like alligator heads, 1 in the front and 2 toward the back. And he kept it on quite a while. And then the light, I guess, finally bothered them. And then they all in unison, they just kind of moved down the river and they went behind some trees. So I contacted the forestry. I contacted, I guess nature preserve. I contacted just about everybody that would have anything to do with tagging fish or anything. And I said, okay, do you tag fish in the Merrimack River? And they said, no, we don't. And I said, do we have alligators in the river? And she goes, oh, no, we don't. So I talked to a gentleman and I said, is there anything that you tag? Gar, fish, anything? He said, we do not tag anything, especially something with a light. So these people are seeing these creatures swimming around. I went back another time after that, about 2 weeks later, and the homeowner took me to a field across from that cove where I had seen them. And there were all these little straw huts that were maybe waist high to me. I'm 5'4". And I took up a whole acre. And I thought, well, maybe, there's beavers or muskrats or something have built these little huts. And it was just out of straw little huts with a swirl in front where they would go in. But there were 2 of them that were way taller than me. And I thought, okay, that's an awful big beaver or awful big muskrat. And there was a whole field of them. So there is something definitely going on in that area. We're still investigating the area. That's why I'm being a little vague as to where it is. But we have Marley Woods. It's another area that's probably like a Skinwalker Ranch area. You should tell them about Blue Springs and Bob and that area.
The Bob lights. In 2012, right after our big flap that we had here in Kansas City in October of 2011, which was the most crazy time we've ever had. But in 2012, we had a rash of sightings in Blue Springs, And I was called, I was assigned a case. I spoke to the witness. I said, I can't come out there tonight because I had another case I was planning to go on. And I got a call the next day from a news station, and he said, are you going out there tonight? And I said, yeah. He says, well, I'm going to meet you there because he was there the night before. And he said he saw some things. So I said, okay, I'll come out. So I'm just thinking they're seeing Venus or something just from the descriptions. Well, they didn't go into great detail about it until I got there. When I got there, I'm setting up my binoculars, my high-power binoculars, and my camera and a telescope. And I had another person with me, and I met with the news anchor or journalist, and he said that the night before they were watching these two objects in the sky, and they kept getting brighter and brighter and started spinning. And he pointed, showed me where they were. He said after about an hour and a half, so this is about 10:30 at night, the one on the right shot off to the left to the horizon and back in about 2 seconds and went to the exact same place it was before and then dropped down to the ground.
Wow.
The camera operator got the camera, got in the van and locked it, and she said she would not return and she wasn't coming out of the van.
Yeah, I bet.
So the next night he had a different camera operator with him when I got there. So they're explaining this, man. Okay. So there was another thing that was going on at the same time, which was really weird. In that whole area, we were getting reports of laser beam-like lights that were mostly horizontal. They were red or white. So people are reporting this separately. So I'm setting up the binoculars. It's at dusk, and my partner is standing to my right. I was looking in them, trying to get a good angle because I was looking in the area where Venus would be coming up.
Mm-hmm.
One of those lights flashed by, blinded me. I mean, I couldn't see anything for about 2 minutes. And I said to him, did you see that? And he goes, oh, yeah, I saw it. So I just happened to be looking at the wrong time. We're not sure what those were, but I think they're related to this. So here are these these objects come up at dusk. I think one is Venus. I think the other one is Arcturus. I look at my sky map on my phone, and Venus is below the horizon. It is not up yet. So I'm like, okay.
Can't blame it on Venus this time.
I can't blame it on Venus this time. So I'm just keeping an eye on it. It just looks like Venus. And then Arcturus looks really, really bright. So I get my binoculars, look through, and it's spinning from right to left at 1/3 second intervals, and it's red, white, green, red, white, green. I'm like, that's weird. Let me call Debbie in St. Louis. So I'm in Kansas City. She's in St. Louis. I said, Debbie, could you please go outside and take a look at Arcturus and tell me what that looks like? Does it just look normal? She goes, yeah, just looks normal. It doesn't look like anything. Okay. So now I'm realizing it might be a pseudo star, which is something that we've found happens where there's a UFO, but it's right in front of a star or planet so that people looking at it aren't going to pay attention. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's our reasoning for why they do it, but this happens a lot. So about as it's getting darker and darker, these things are getting brighter and brighter. And they're also the very first thing you see in the sky as it's getting dusk. So they're very, very bright. Then I turn my attention over to what I think is maybe Venus. And I look through the binoculars. Now, realize the whole neighborhood's out. There's 20 people out there watching this with us and the news crew, and they're filming me.
Wow.
Okay? While I'm doing this, I look in the binoculars and I see a super bright light that's spinning with 3 colors, just like the other one. But this one has a silver grid around it, like a big, big silver metallic grid, and it's shadowy on the outside and it's super bright on the inside coming around the sides from that bright light. And my reaction was, oh my God. So everybody turns around and looks at me, including the news. And he says, what did you see? So I just thought very quickly, I don't want to panic the whole city of Kansas City right now. So
Right.
I'm going to say, oh, I've never seen anything that bright. And they'll go, oh, and they turn back and look. So after that event, I found out the other object was over what I believe is the Lake City Army ammo plant.
Mm.
And that is a place where a lot of strange stuff has happened. And it usually involves people have seen these orange fiery balls of light dancing around there on the streets at ground level, going through parks around that area. And of course, it's very restricted. You're not getting on the place, but you can get near it. Well, there's a park that's not very far from there. So I took a whole bunch of people out one night. We all brought our telescopes and everything and stopped at that park. It's very dark, so there was no light to distract us. And we watched, and sure enough, that thing returned. And this was just a couple of nights after this event in Blue Springs. So Blue Springs looks in the direction we were at was looking right over at Independence, over Lake City Army ammo plant. And sure enough, that thing appeared right over the plant. And we were watching it for a while, and my husband and other people were saying, oh, that's just a planet. It's not anything. And then all of a sudden it shot straight up in the sky and was gone.
Jeez.
So
That is crazy.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's probably one of the most bizarre things. But what has happened since is I've discovered that those lights, which we now call the Bob lights for beyond belief, they're all over. I've seen them over Kansas City. I've filmed them over Raytown. I've gotten them to respond to me by flashing a 1,000,000 candle power flashlight at it 3 times, and they will flare up, get super, super bright, and then go back down. And like they're in response to you. So there's some type of intelligence manning these. Now, whether there's something of ours or something from somewhere else, I don't know, but they're hanging around all the time and they're all over. I've seen them all over the United States.
Great. And I want to ask you, I'll ask you right now, and then I guess we can get the answer after the break. But my theory of being off of what you just said, these balls of light, these UFOs that I captured were these spheres in the daytime, and then in the daytime you usually see what are perceived to be these solid spherical objects. My theory is that those spherical objects, if like my sighting, if I were to see those at night, I would assume that those would appear as balls of light as well. Are you finding that these balls of light are actually physical things that glow, or because some people think that they're just balls of plasma? So that question, and then you referred to situation where one of these balls of light would have assumingly been trying to blend into the stars, essentially to fool us, you would assume. And I have a theory about that too. I think that they do that for sure. And a question I would have is, have you had a sighting, or have you noticed that these things do like a mimicry where I think that they mimic, because some people say, oh, okay, these are FAA pattern strobes, but I'm under the belief that it's very easy for them to mimic those patterns if they wanted to. So, and then a lot of people write these off just based on that because they're FAA pattern strobes. But I'm just like, okay, if I were an ET ship coming here and I wanted to blend into the sky, then I would mimic the other things that I see in the sky, which would be planes. I'd mimic the light pattern. Very easy to do, right? Are you noticing things like that?
You're
I
exactly
have a question.
right.
Well, yeah, I have a question. These craft, they're highly intelligent beings that are flying, and why do they have any lights at all? Why do they have color lights? Why do they have a white light and then even turn it into just fly around in the dark? I think they want
Yeah.
us to see them
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
don't need lights. The lights don't serve any purpose. not the lights that we've seen. Do they, Margie? They don't seem like they serve any kind of a purpose. They're not seeing where they're going. They're so intelligent. They can navigate around through, in and out of dimensions, or through wormholes, or around our solar system or universe. What do they need lights for?
Well, one time I was really pondering that question, and I just remote viewed it, and I asked, and sometimes they will answer, and they actually showed me the inside of a craft with a hollow center, and they said that their propulsion system that they use when they're close to planets is different than the one they use to travel through space. And a side effect of that is photons. So it's something that's created by their propulsion system, and they some of them anyway use that, and that's why we see light.
Okay. Yeah. So we can jump down that rabbit hole because I'm totally under the belief that it just makes me upset, because when I hear a skeptical opinion, and you lean on something saying because they're blinking in this specific pattern that would be relatable to FAA strobes, that it just isn't a UFO based on that. It's got to be some sort of aircraft. But if we are talking about intelligences that are way beyond our intelligence level, that is the basic thing to do, would be to blend in, right? It's just common sense, I would think. But what we're going to do real quick is go ahead and pause for the cause as we get ready for our first break of the night. And we'll be back into some real great conversation here with Margie K and Debbie Ziegelmeyer of MUFON and of various other things. We'll talk in a minute. You guys hold tight, and we will be right back. right, ladies and gents, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio After Hour number 2 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G. And we have our wonderful guests tonight, MUFON's Margie K. and Debbie Ziegelmeyer. We were just getting into talking about some of these orbs and spheres and things that are in the sky. I had one question for you, and this is more of a question just because of my own sighting. Have you, so two things with UFO fleets where there's maybe more than 5 at one time. Do you see those often? And then if you do, what are the characteristics? And if you're able to say, do you see them in any particular formations? Or what's the most common formation?
I've actually seen one kind of. My son-in-law and I, and it was my anniversary, which would be August 22nd, about 4 years ago, I guess. And we were sitting about 10 o'clock at night, beachfront in French Village. It's called Goose Creek, a little community. My daughter had fallen asleep and everybody else went to bed. And just my son-in-law were watching the stars. And I'm telling, okay, well, there's Mars and there's Sagittarius. And then he said, what is that? And there were 4 just pinpoints. They were like a square, 2 and then 2 underneath, pinpoint stars. And I said, I don't know what that is. And they kept getting brighter and brighter and closer and closer. And he said, what is that? And I said, I don't know what that is. And then all of a sudden, they just split. The top 2 went in opposite directions like that. The bottom 2 went like that. And he's a St. Louis City firefighter, and it was kind of funny. He screamed like a little girl. He said, what was that? I said, yeah. I don't know. I would say maybe that wasn't really a fleet, but it was a formation. And that's probably the only experience I've had where I have physically seen a group of something that came in. Now, this came from way out. I mean, these weren't planes. We watched the lights. They were pinpoint dots, way out white lights. And especially when they moved off into other, the way that they moved off, our aircraft doesn't do that. I mean, no characteristics of anything that we have. But so I know I don't know what it was unless we have a fleet of something that's far beyond what they're telling the public. These things were highly advanced, and we was a group of 4. But I don't know. I really haven't seen a fleet so much. Have you, Margie? Or you can refresh my memory.
Well, maybe about 15 years ago, I was driving east on 23rd Street, and I saw maybe about 300 something.
Oh,
and they were silver, kind of like an oval shape. And I was looking because I had heard that geese will have formations like that, and that these were kind of moving like that. They were all moving together, back and forth, up and down. And so I was looking for some sign that they were geese, some wings or something. And as I drove towards them, I was getting closer, and I was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna see that. I'm gonna see that pretty soon, because I know that's what people mistake them for. And then all of a sudden, they just disappeared in thin air. They were just gone. There was no flying away. They weren't geese.
Margie, you just explained my sighting, and that's exactly why I asked the question in that fashion, because I feel like, and I know for a fact, because of my sighting, I had 47 at one time, and they were these white spherical sort of things, and each one of them, every single one of them had these, I call it like a pipes like thing, is the only thing I could think of, like a black pipe sort of object sticking from the bottom of each one of these things. I got them on film. I did some zooming in and took it frame by frame. But you would have assumed that these were potentially birds based on the formation. They were in a V formation, and they were kind of flying in and out of each other just like that. But the thing that happened is that they all disappeared at one time. They disappeared into thin air, and I got this on film. This happened at 12 noon. It was about 108 degrees. I'm here in Southern California, about an hour north of LA. So, yeah, they did exactly what you said. And one of the things that I have, because I've been looking into it, and other side, I found other sightings that show these exact objects, and I found them in the MUFON database. So there are a few MUFON videos I've done a video about that shows these same objects, and they have been listed as unknown. So same thing you're talking about, but I'm leaning into those sort of objects like the ones we're talking about seem to have they seem to be alive almost. They seem to have some sort of life to them, and I'm under the belief now that they exhibit some sort, either they're alive, they're biological things, and not craft, or some hybrid of the two. And I believe that they do something like called biomimicry, where they where I don't know if a V formation is just a natural formation in nature, and these things just take these formations because of that fact, or if they are trying to mimic things like geese or birds, because those are things that are observed in our skies, and that would be another one of those blend in sort of things. I don't know what you think about that, but since I had my sighting, because I know they weren't birds, even though someone who looks at the video based on how they are acting and their formation will immediately go to birds. And my belief is that the ones I saw, I know other people have seen, and I think they mistake them for birds and kind of just write it off, and come to find out that these objects are actually always in the sky. So when I was asking that initially, I'm glad you had the personal sighting that verifies it, but I was saying, looking into your database, do you have other examples of exactly what you just described, where there are these formations and people may be mistaking these for birds, but then realizing that no, they're not, they're these anomalous things?
I don't recall ever doing an investigation about that sort of thing in Missouri. Of course, MUFON's a big place. It's worldwide. So there well may be some other videos. I'm sure, the ones were talking about, that'd be something to look into. But I would like to see your video. And did you report that to MUFON?
I did. Okay. I
Okay.
did. And this is where the frustration kicks in. And I've talked about this because MUFON, obviously, just like you said, is state to state, area to area, and it's going to be different depending on the investigators that are working those particular areas. So I did hand it off to an after doing some research on my own, because I was able to put together some things, and give this person some leads on, because I had done the flat flight data tracker, that and I took it back to the time and date that I had my sighting, and I found that there was a private pilot that was coming in on approach right in the same part of the sky where these things disappeared. They went right overhead and they disappeared at about 1 o'clock position. And there was a private pilot coming in from Las Vegas on approach who would have come right into that vicinity. And I had that data to give to the investigator to see if he could follow up on that, and maybe see if this person reported anything, or if there were any air traffic control, because I FOIA'd the air traffic control, but didn't realize that you needed to do that within a 45-day window of your sighting, which is an important thing for you guys to know out there. If you have one of these sightings out there and you're wanting to FOIA air traffic control for radar data or whatnot, you have a 45-day window from the sighting, and then they purge the information after that. So that was my situation. But I do want to show you the video before you guys leave today, because I just want to see if with the hundreds of cases that you guys have looked through, if these particular objects are ones that you have come across. Because I want to say you probably have, because I know they're real objects and they have been cataloged by MUFON and other agencies in other states. And just, yeah, so I definitely, and I'm glad you guys are here for that reason, because, but yeah, going back to my own MUFON investigator here, I had him investigated, and even with all this evidence that was given in the video, the statement that I gave, the lead for the private pilot, this person still came back in the end and tried to tell me that these things were a string of party balloons. Party balloons was the explanation, but they weren't. They weren't balloons. They weren't drones. They weren't any of those things. I can say this with certainty. So I reached back out to the gentleman and said, hey, these things were real. I think you may just want to take a second look at this. Maybe, and here's a MUFON case. I gave him 2 or 3 MUFON case numbers that displayed the same objects. And in those cases, those objects were deemed to be unknown or unrecognized. So I'm like, okay, how can these be party balloons? And I'm giving you videos of the same objects that were labeled to be unknown. But I think potentially this particular investigator didn't really do the footwork on it. And so I don't know what to do about that. I don't know if there's a follow-up process, or is there anything you could recommend about that actually?
Debbie can address that.
Right. Northern California, Southern California.
Southern.
Okay, Southern. Okay,
Yeah.
and I think I may know what was going on. How long ago was this?
Reported this, it's actually been about a year. Yeah, last January. The
Okay,
sighting happened August 2022, and then I was doing my own research, and then I finally reported it in January of 2023.
how funny. August 22, that was the same as my sighting. That other one, like 4 years, maybe 3 years ahead of yours. I can, if you can email me the case number and I can look
Oh,
into
I
it.
sure can. Yeah.
I I know that they've changed. They had someone who was just overwhelmed with work and not feeling well at the time, overwhelmed with cases in the Southern California area. And there's been a different person that's taken over now, and
Mm.
including in that area both of my sisters. And so I have connections in your area, and I can have them take a look at that case again for you.
Awesome.
Yeah, Debbie sits on the board of directors for International MUFON as well.
Oh, lovely.
But I happen to have family in the area also, so yes, I can, and I believe that the state director of Southern California is going to be my MUFON speaker for my Missouri group. He's going to come in a Zoom speaker for me third Wednesday of this month. So I know him very well, very nice gentleman, and I'm sure that wasn't him that took a look at that for you, but I know that he'll be happy to take a look at that again.
Awesome. Because
Sometimes we
I'll
just
tell
get
you,
a little overworked and overwhelmed,
yeah,
and and it
I can see
happens. And
that. I can understand that, and that's why I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Though I know what it was, I know what it wasn't, and I know it wasn't balloons. So to come back with that was kind of like, did you really do the legwork on it? But that's okay, because I'm going to definitely take up your offer and send you the information and show you the video later. Because here's my
are we
thing.
going to see the video? Not, I
Yes.
mean, you mean okay? You meant later on in the show.
Tonight,
Okay.
yes. And so the my thing is that if these things are in these formations and this is obviously a situation where whatever this is didn't care about being seen and showed up in the daytime in some sort of formation, and it just runs through my mind, like, why would that be the case? Why would there be this amount? And you said, Margie, 300. That's just, I don't even know. They had a case in Mexico, Guadalupe, I think, back in 2012, somewhere around there, where they had hundreds of them, the same objects in the sky, floating across the sky, pretty famous sighting,
Mhm.
and these were the exact same objects. I feel like the objects that they show in the gimbal video when they say there's a fleet and they're going against the wind, I think that these are the same objects that they're talking about in that, because when it comes to fleets, and I've looked through the MUFON, I've looked through the New Fork, I've looked just online in general, and anytime you find fleets, they're usually these sort of objects. So with that being said, I don't have any way, obviously, to prove that, but I will say that if you look at the gimbal video, the little thing and it turns on its axis, and
Mhm.
it has like a little, it looks almost like a top, and then
Mhm.
when I told you about the pipe thing sticking out. When I look at that, I can almost see that pipe thing sticking out the bottom of this object. So I'm under the belief with a lot of certainty that these objects that I'm going to show a little later are definitely the items from the gimbal. And I just want to pick your brain to see if you've seen these before and have any reports about these. But what is your consensus about, you know, if you had to guess why these things are visiting, what would be your answer to that based on your research into this topic?
Different beings, different purposes.
Yeah.
There's several different races of beings. Some of them are here that they abduct people and maybe just do an examination. We've heard where they've, like in the case of Barty and Betty Hill in 1962, where they actually took um, samples, reproductive samples. They gathered eggs from her, put a needle in her belly, and um, then there's some that I actually believe are residing here in our sorry, I have a bit of a cold, in our oceans. I believe we have some that are in the oceans. I believe that there are some that have been living deep in mountains, in hidden away from us. So I believe that they're not, some are visitors and some of them maybe not. Some might be from the future, but everybody, they have a different, it may be a similar agenda, but a lot of them have completely different. I explained it the other day to someone. I said, when let's say all three of us, we get up in the morning, we all get up in the morning and there's all things we do, but then we go off for the day and do something all completely different.
Yeah.
And they're I mean, what do you think, Margie?
Well, I've had personal experiences and I've talked to lots of people, and by far at least 80% of the time the experience is either positive from the beginning or they eventually come around and say it was a positive experience that they did, because most of the time what they're doing is doing healing work or waking you up or triggering something in you to make you have a new skill. But there are some what we would call negative or bad, because they seem to be a very bad experience, and the interaction is, well, there's basically no interaction because some of these entities have no emotion and no feeling and no empathy for the people, and they might do something very painful to them, things like that. But that's by far the least amount. Um, there was a study done a few years ago, a couple years ago, by the Free Foundation, which is now uh, uh, Contact and Consciousness, and they were surprised to see the results of the survey, that it was mostly benevolent beings that were there to help the person. And I've had personal healing experiences by ETs in my bedroom that appeared, but I asked them to do
Mm.
that because the doctors couldn't figure something out. And I said, could you please come help me out? And next thing I know, well, in that case, my feet had been hurting me real bad, and the doctors had no clue. And so I did a meditation, and I just sent the message out: if there are any benevolent beings who would like to help me, please come do so while I'm asleep. So I fell asleep, and then I felt a pinch real bad in my calf, and it felt like a needle was going into my bone in the calf, and I was instantly awake. Look, and there's two ETs standing at the foot of my bed, and they're right at my feet. They're doing something to my feet, and then I sensed another one to my right, but I didn't see it. I didn't look in that direction. I just knew there was one there. And so my reaction, and I would, this has been a while. And it was the first time I had seen a physical ET besides one I saw in 1985. That's a whole different story. And I was surprised, and I screamed, threw the covers over my head. Like that's going to do any good. And then I thought, wait a minute, I asked them to come. So I pulled the covers down, and I can't see them anymore, but I knew they were there. But whatever they did to me, the next day my feet didn't hurt anymore. They fixed them. And it was just amazing.
What species are those, if you had to say?
They were the medium tall grays, but with small eyes, small mouths, small nose, not gigantic eyes, just a little bit bigger than ours would be.
I've heard that. That's strange. I've heard that variation right there, that would not necessarily the large eyes. Healing energy always seems to be a common thing as well that you hear about these beings as well. I I mean, so okay. With that being said, then hopefully they're benevolent. I really do, really hope they are. But I guess maybe one species is gonna be versus another one that might not. Is there any proof or anything out there that says that there are? I would assume there has to be both sides, but is there anything that points to a malevolent side to this? I mean, because you have these abduction cases, and then missing 411 potentially, which goes into that, where maybe some of these aren't being brought back. I know someone, I can't remember who exactly, just recently I interviewed, said that one of the reasons why, I think it was Dolly Saffron, said maybe, I think that they didn't want to come back, that these people consciously being abducted had a choice to come back or not, and then chose to go along with the ETs. And I said, wow, okay, that could be a positive spin to the situation, is something that would be perceived potential, or when you look at missing 411 on the surface, seems to be something terrible, but it could be just simply people making choices. Do you see anything that points to anything malevolent? Because I know a lot of people like to hang on their here for love and light side of the conversation, but do you see anything else, potentially a dark side to this?
I don't know if I could kind of answer that. And let me put it this way. I have found, I've done a lot of research on this, and I have found sightings back as far as biblical times. There are sightings in my St. James version of the Bible. One of them is a description of a tic tac. There's, as Margie said, these sightings have been going on. Columbus had a sighting. These sightings have been going on forever. And if people wanted, or if these beings wanted to hurt people or wanted to destroy us, they have the means. They have the ability, the technology. They could do it. However, on the other side of that, the Roswell crash, I was able to get a hold of some information just by research that inside the craft, and maybe not just necessarily that one, but another craft, there have been the animal mutilations that you've heard about, that I had heard, and I have no firsthand knowledge. Well, most of us don't have firsthand knowledge in a lot of this, but there were human body parts inside some of these craft that had been found. Somebody has Some being may or may not have. Now, I'm not saying that maybe the person wasn't already dead when they took it and kept the body parts. I don't, I don't want to go any farther than that, but that I have information that there were body parts that were found inside of a craft that was captured by our government. And that's one reason why it was hushed up. But for the most part, they even bring the cows back. You know,
Yeah.
Margie and I have done, I think I've done 8 cow mutilation investigations, not physically been there, but involved in 8 of them. And the cows are almost always brought back. So I'd say for the most part, 99 and 9/10% of the time, it's not a bad experience. And even if it is a bad experience for somebody, maybe it wasn't meant to be. I mean, sometimes things just don't go right. That's why we have UFOs that crash. Sometimes things just don't go as planned. But I think for the most part, people are fairly safe. Wouldn't you think, Margie?
Most of the time, I've had several cases where a person was injured on their way back from being taken, and they would be in their house and they would trip and fall, or they would like miss the bed and they would fall off the side of the bed and get hit their head or something and get pretty injured. But that seems to be accidental. One time I was talking to someone who is a contactee, as we say. A contactee is someone who has multiple contacts and with non-human intelligence. I was talking to her, and all of a sudden this reptilian walks out of her to the side, looks at me and gives me this smirk, and just sends a telepathic message that there's nothing you can do about this, and he walks back into her. And I was like, okay, this is not good. And since then, I have actually seen several people have their pupils change to more of a reptile pupil and then go back to normal. And even some people who have been on TV in commercials and stuff, and some world leaders, in fact, I see their eyes shift. So what this is, I'm pretty sure, is like possession of the person. It's they're inhabiting the body and influencing what they say and do.
I agree. I actually brought that up recently on a show. I said, because there's obviously rumors of different species, and one of those species being one that's undiscernible from a human being and could be walking amongst us and are probably with us every day. And I'm like, okay, that could be one side of it. I was like, but then if you think about it, with this whole thing being a conscious thing, and I akin it to more something like the Matrix, like the movie The Matrix, when they're in the Matrix and you have one of the non main characters, and then the agent kind of just gets into his body and assumes that person, and it would make more sense that they were doing those sorts of things where they do something that would potentially be considered a possession of that person's body, and then maybe in those moments control the decisions and things that they do, which truthfully would make a lot of sense going into some other things that are pretty controversial, like mass shootings and things like that, where it would make sense that those things, because someone is not in their right mind, I think is more like someone is being their essence is being taken over by something, potentially in that reptilian situation where you're seeing these eyes change in those moments. That makes a lot of sense, and I'm more of a logical, like, common sense. I think you can figure a lot of this stuff out with common sense and kind of just deducing in that way. I think our common sense was given to us and is great enough for us to figure out this puzzle that we're trying to put together. So I love that you said that. It's just you're saying things that I didn't even have to prompt, that I felt too myself strongly about, and I'm just glad to hear someone else say it. And then with you, Debbie, with being able to be probably one of the first people that I've talked to that would be willing to say, hey, there's been a situation potentially where they found craft and they had human body parts in it. Now, what that means, I don't know, but this is what it is. And I think with all that data there, true data, we could kind of put this together and figure out why this is going on and where we're going. That's kind of why we're doing all this anyways, right? So
Well, and then that if that was the Roswell, in fact, from what I understand, one of the Roswell crashes, that would have been 1947. Then not too long after that, they started with cow mutilations, and there have been, I understand, Eisenhower 1952 had a meeting with ETs, and there even Grush. I mean, he's come out and he has said, there is, we've had meetings, we've got craft, that type of thing. So it wouldn't surprise me that maybe that might have gone on in the past, but a long time ago. But I would think they would tend more to grab cows or other animals. I know in the Salem, Missouri area, there have been back in the early 1970s, there were chickens, a whole flock of chickens mutilated where the side was cut out, the anal part, just, a flock of chickens, just like they would mutilate a cow. But there's been cow, there have been pig, sheep, deer in Missouri that have been reported that have been mutilated. And I think I was wondering why back in World War II, when they ran out of human blood, they were using bovine blood in Europe for transfusions, and that would explain. So I haven't heard a lot, but I would tend to think that may have gone on a limited basis, and then they steered off. That's kind of a pun of words, but more toward cows. But yes, I did hear that, and you don't hear that very often. Look at Travis Walton. Travis Walton was abducted and injured by accident and taken and repaired and brought back. So I think for the most part, there's not a lot that's done on purpose.
Well, I want to make sure that I get you guys to be able to see this video. I know it's this video is on my channel, and the part that we're going to watch is a few minutes long. Put together a montage, and we'll just take a look and let me know what you think here. Let me share this. Okay, present. All right, got it up. Okay, be full screen that.
Pointing out from the west. Oh, big man. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. It's our LNS, dude. Well, if there's like anything, it's rotated.
All right, and then it should be bringing up my sighting after this clip here.
Really? They birds, y'all think? I know.
No, them ain't birds. No, they're not.
Those are little birds.
Dude, those are not birds. There's no way those are birds. Where'd they go? Can't see.
They're birds. I don't care what they say. They're birds.
Okay. All right, Kiara. Where? Where? Exactly. If they're birds, where they go, Kiari?
I don't know what that was.
Kiari, if those are birds, where did they just go? Nah, ain't no maybe. You would still see them, dude.
Well, the thing that was crazy was when I had first seen them, they were shining. It was like, that's what caught my eye. It was like, they were shining. And then they disappeared. And then
This is what they look like zoomed in. So spherical objects with things sticking up out the top and bottom. And then I have some examples of other sightings.
Yeah, because they are flying kind of weird.
Someone at a
I
Walmart.
don't even look right, huh? Damn, they look hella weird. I don't see no wings flapping, man. Do you see wings flapping?
This is one day after my sighting. Someone in Colorado had the same objects and described them the same way I did. Those are mine. And then I asked Mick West to look at this, and he came back and told me seagulls. Mick West. Shout out to Mick West. See, looking at what I thought was an amazing display of birds. Everybody explains these the same way. And then we'll do my sighting again one more time here. No flapping wings, just spherical objects moving in a formation that could be considered birds, but they weren't. Where? Exactly. They're birds where they go, Kiari. Kiari, those are birds. Where did they just go? Nah, ain't no maybe. You still see them, dude. Yeah, so hold on, let me pause this here. Okay. Yeah, so please tell me if you've seen anything along those lines and what do you think about this video?
I saw a video similar to that from, I think it was, like, have you seen it? Margie, Mexico City had some a few years ago
Yes.
look like that.
Yeah.
Yes, the one it had like hundreds of them, right?
Mhm.
Yes,
Hmm.
I have yes, I found that
And
video.
and another one, let's see, it would have been, first time I met Bruce Maccabee was probably in 2002, and he gave me a copy, a CD that he was investigating something that was similar to that. That they were lights that were kind of moving. A closer view of them, I think they were taken from an aircraft. So I have seen video like that before.
Rob, we have an expert video analyst team here in Missouri and Illinois. And it would be nice. I know we can have them check that out.
Okay.
And they would want the original video with,
It's in my
nothing done
MUFON
to it.
file or
It
I
is
can
in the
resend
file.
it if yeah.
Okay. We'll probably want you to send it by email because sometimes it's compressed when it's put in to that database.
Okay.
And if you send it to me, I'll get it sent on. And then he'll be able to look at it frame by frame because I was seeing something else in there that I don't think you noticed, and that's fast movers.
Yes, the thing that kind of zipped across the
Zip,
screen.
yes, there was more than one, and
Yes.
this person will be, at least one of these guys will be able to pick that out.
Yes, that would be excellent.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yes, for sure, for sure. Now, okay, so with that being said, right? So party balloons. I mean, this is a response I get back to this is and it was the frustrating thing in kind of but at the time, after that I realized that okay, this is just one portion of MUFON. They're broken up into so many different segments and there's different people in different areas. They had different areas, and then like you confirmed, Debbie, there were some things potentially going on in this region at that time, which would have led to that diagnosis. But the problem with that is that if I'm a person that just accepts that diagnosis and moves on with my day, then I potentially throw away compelling evidence of UAP that it's pretty much undeniable. And I think that we the movement gets hurt when those types of things happen. I didn't let it happen because I had more sense than that, and I knew what I saw. So it just, but when like I said, when I speak to other MUFON representatives and then now you directors in different areas, it just lets me know that this is segmented just to a certain part of MUFON and doesn't really represent the entirety of MUFON. So just something really important to say
And then
about
we're
that.
volunteers, and I still, in the back of my mind, I have a couple more cases that I want to go back and reopen because I had new evidence. And that's why our cases, we can always open them again. And there's a couple of them that I think, yeah, maybe that wasn't that, and I'll take another look at the video. So I want to go over them again. And I know that they get a lot of cases in that area, and sometimes we're volunteers, and sometimes they just get overwhelmed. I know this
Hmm.
because two of the MUFON field investigators in your area are my sisters. So
Hmm.
they don't just
Yeah, so
live
they
there; they
let you
are
know.
MUFON investigators, and we once in a while, maybe it never hurts to have somebody take a second look. And I've had that happen with me before, where I've determined something and then had a witness call and say, "Can I have someone else look at it?" Say, "Absolutely." And that's why we do have a photo video analyst team that we just formed an official team a couple years ago. Well, actually, it hasn't even been that, maybe about a year and a half ago, MUFON International. And that way it's something can be turned into them to take a look at it. And then, of course, Missouri, we have our own team. Missouri, Illinois teamed up together, and we have our own specialists. So, oh,
Okay.
yes.
Well, the
Where do
good
you live?
thing is, I never. I'll tell you right. Do I have it here? Somewhere right over here. That's right. somewhere over here. So I have the phone with the original file that I took. Never did anything with it. So it's the original metadata. Everything is still on that file on the original phone that I used to capture that day. So
Nice.
that's what I'll go ahead and get you sent over. I mean, because I think it's so important for real data to be recognized as real data and to be cataloged and not lost. And it's just one of my things. I just happen to be the one that caught this, but I would say the same thing for anyone else that had relevant data. And also that MUFON, the one you saw over that Walmart, that one was also cataloged by someone else to MUFON. So it's in the database, and I know MUFON has a few examples of these things, and we just need. It would be a cool thing to be able to start putting together an actual list of verified things that are anomalous that people could look for, or just to come to an understanding that, yeah, these sort of things are definitely in our skies. We don't know what they are, and just to kind of build a list for the people, you know what I
Well,
mean?
we
And
are. Actually, MUFON is. We've got together with CUFOS, New Fork, the Peter Davenport's National UFO Reporting Center.
hmm
Old MUFON files. It's called Project Aquarius. It's on the MUFON website, and I believe at this point there's over 250,000 cases. They're
oh,
either
nice.
in there or involved in getting in, and that's why also on our website, when you look up something, that's the CMS. See, that's the beauty of it, of having this. I think since about 2005, they came up with the case management system. So if I have something like that, I can go back and put in the description and then go back from cases from years ago, cases from all over the world, all over the United States, and compare and say, that's the same video that I have. And that's why it's very important your video's in there, because somebody else is going to say, wait a minute, my case is the same way.
Yeah.
We need to relook at this one again. And if you have enough of them that's the same thing, you have one that somebody can say birds. If you have multiple ones that are different parts of the world, you've got someone that's going to be investigating that. And that's the importance of them
Good.
all being there. So we call them correlating cases.
Awesome. Mission accomplished. Good Lord. I mean, because it's been on my conscience so heavy, and it's like I couldn't accept that for now, but I didn't know what to do. I was like, do I reach out to the regional person and try to escalate it? And I didn't know what to do. So I've just been sitting on that decision since then, but I always show it to people, and they're always like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, man, this is really a thing right here. And they're up there for sure. And I'm jealous, Debbie, that you have that Psionics camera, because I'm trying to get one myself. And I tell people all the time, because there are people that walk around, and I kind of feel sorry for them sometimes, because they are, they believe in this thing, but they've never in all their life have had a sighting. And I tell them, from what I've learned from people that I know that have these Sonics cameras, they are having success with seeing things pretty often. Like, and I would just say to those people who really want to have that sighting, it would be a cool investment, to get one of these things. And I would almost guarantee you're going to end up with the sighting and kind of quell that thirst within you to actually see something, because they're up there all the time.
Focus right after the sun goes down, right at dusk, for maybe an hour and a half, maybe at the most 2 hours later, and then just before the sun comes back up, and focus over water, over oceans, over rivers, over lakes.
Mhm.
That's when you're going to pick it up. That's where the focal point is water, and that's where I'm getting them. This camera's so phenomenal that you can point it at the sky and videotape stars that aren't visible to the eyes. It's got a whole different light spectrum. It's military grade, and it is a fantastic, nice little camera, because it's just so little and lightweight,
Yeah.
it'll take still pictures, video. It's got a regular setting, then it's got a dusted on setting and a night vision setting. And yeah, I have gotten some really incredible things that I had people. Well, just an example, I had Alien Highway came out in one of the investigations that I was doing, and I picked up a light on this. The witness and I could see the light. They had infrared, $150,000 infrared cameras that they had rented to bring out there to try and pick up these lights in the area they were in. And I was there as a kind of an advisor. The witness and I said, look, we think we can see a light there. And they said, we can too. We think we can too. They couldn't pick it up with their infrared. I had great shot. I got about 2 minutes of video of it. So that little camera did a better job than these big professional infrared cameras. It is. I mean, I have no stock in this camera at all.
I was going to say, Science needs to probably sponsor, because we talk about them all the time, but this product that they make has the footage that I've seen come from it has been just undeniable as well. It's just things all over the sky, just you wouldn't believe it. And you take the camera away from your eye and you're not seeing any of these things with your naked eye. So it just lets you know.
Yeah, be careful with that. We have found out, like our photo video analysts have found out that some of the objects that I was picking up, we picked up airplanes about 120 miles away. So make sure that when you're videotaping it, that cross-check it with Flight Radar 24 to make sure that that's what you're getting. Also cross-check it with Heavens Above and make sure that it's not a satellite. But we were able to cross-check one of them, a video that I took, and the plane came by, cross-checked it. Mel Van Vickel, our Missouri MUFON chief investigator, cross-checked it with Flight Radar 24, and the transponder went out on the plane that was going over. As we're saying, we think that's a plane. The transponder went out, and so he's trying to track this on Flight Radar 24. And while we're looking up at that, I had taken the camera, put it on a tripod, and just pointed up, and the saucer-shaped craft just went right across the screen. We didn't even see that. We were looking at the plane, so that picked that up, and I have that on video. This is just this thing just comes right across the screen. So yes, but make sure you do check your data. Don't just assume that everything, because you can pick up things a whole long way away.
Yeah, definitely. Anything to add to that, Margie?
Well, Debbie mentioned water, and we are noticing that a lot of these sightings are near water. The main rivers, Missouri River, Mississippi, where we are, the lakes, Lake of the Ozarks, all of them. That's just, that's the thing that we're focusing on right now. And of course, Debbie's book, The Alien Colonization of Earth's Waterways, covers that. She did this fantastic book that really is a reference guide. And it has all these fantastic sighting reports in it, going way back to biblical times, like she mentioned earlier. But the point is, we need to be paying more attention to areas with water and have our cameras aimed at it.
Yep.
Now, I know we said go to 10, but I wanted to know if you guys would be willing to stay for about 15, 20 minutes in hour 3, because Drew Banky did send me a video that he wanted you guys to look at. He sent it earlier in the show. And then we have a couple audience questions. So I didn't know if you'd be willing to come back for that for about 15, 20 minutes.
Sure.
Well,
okay, great.
I'm fine. Thank you.
All right. All right. Well, that sounds great, guys. You guys hear that? I don't have my applause, so I'll give you a round of applause. But thank you very much. And so what we'll do is go ahead and pause for the cause for our second and final break of the night. Right here on After Hours, we'll be coming back with Margie K and Debbie Ziegelmeyer, getting into some deep stuff. See you guys in just a minute. All right, we are back after hours number 3 with our guests, Margie K and Debbie Ziegelmeyer. And we are going, Drew Banky, our guest from yesterday, really great dude, went ahead and sent in a video that he would like you guys to take a look at. And Drew's page, just so everyone knows, is Eagles Nest Podcast with Drew Banky. Make sure you guys go and check him out. And let me go ahead and get this brought up. Okay. All right, let me get everything out the way. Okay, full screen. Okay, here is Drew Banky's video. It calls it UFOs over Mount Blanca in southern Colorado. Wait for it. So here we go. So I have enough data to say I think this is taken from Drew's homestead out there in Colorado. Okay, I wonder if it's replaying itself.
It's kind of difficult to tell what that is. But again, I'd say file a report with MUFON and, let our video analysis team take a look at that.
That's in the San Luis Valley.
This is in Colorado, Mount Blanca. It's in the high desert,
Yeah, I bet the
southern
San Luis
Colorado.
Valley.
And so I think he's showing the daytime reference point, saying those are the buildings down there on the ground, and then giving the reference to the point of light that's up in the sky. Right? Oh, what is that? Okay, yeah, I think that's a. I think he's. Yeah, there it is. Okay, great.
There's two of them.
And you do see those kind of flickering reddish sort of orbs often.
They kind of look like sky lanterns, but it's so far away, difficult to tell.
Okay. And I don't know if they do anything more anomalous. I don't think they do. I think that.
Mount Blanca, and those lights are right above Mount Blanca on the eastern face of the mountain.
So probably something anomalous, but we don't have enough data.
Now we have to do an interview with him. Actually, Colorado MUFON would. And they've got a good team there. They would definitely be asking a lot of questions about that. Date, time, location, direction, all that. So, we can...
Yeah, if that's the area I'm thinking it is, that Mount Blanca. Was that it looked like the Zapata Falls area, the sand, sand dunes are there?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's
where
San Luis Valley, and there's Judy Messeline. There's a UFO watchtower right there.
There's a lot of weird stuff that's happened in that area.
That's why they have she has a right off of the I think maybe Highway 27. She's got looks like it's a gift shop, and it looks like a UFO, and then she's got a great big metal tower in front, and there's so much activity in that area that they sit up there and look at that mountain. There's things going on over the sand dunes. I've been there a lot, not recently, probably not the last 6 or 7 years, but I used to go twice a year over there. I used to speak over at the in the San Luis Valley, speak it for the Watchtower. So I think the first time I was there was 2001.
Wow. So Drew, it sounds like you definitely need to, if you haven't already, go ahead and get this reported over to MUFON. They say it's a lot of weird stuff that's happening in that area. The UFO Watchtower, if you're not familiar with what that is, Drew, maybe that's something to look into and be able to visit since you're right there. Yeah, okay, great. So appreciate that video, Drew. Appreciate you ladies taking a look at that as well. Let me go ahead and get into we have a few fewer comments or questions. So Quantum Momentum, I know, asked at one time here during our conversation, what is the purpose of hybrids? I think we were talking about hybrid ETs. I'm going to say hybrid ETs.
That's a good question for Debbie.
Oh, I was going to say it's a good question for you. I'm the water expert. You're.
Oh, okay. There are a lot of opinions about this. A lot of people have had experiences, especially women, where they've been abducted. They're being used for these hybrid baby making projects. And then at least one time in their life, they're taken and shown their hybrid baby. And they get to spend some time with it. And maybe it's more than one. Maybe it's a lot. And then they leave and they never see them again. It's very strange. A lot of times they don't look human, or they just look partially human. And then other cases, sometimes they look completely human, or human enough to where they can actually live on our planet among us. And I do know a few people who have seen hybrids. I think I may have seen one or two in my entire life where something was just a little bit off. Usually their eyes are blue. I don't know why that is. And their hair is blonde, but not always. It doesn't always have to be that way. But there is one thing that I have picked up that I don't know if anybody else has. And that is, if you get close to one and you're looking them in the eyes, and I first noticed this when I was doing this networking roundtable with a group I belong to with contractors. And we sit across the table from each other, talk for 5 minutes, and then you go to the next person just to introduce yourselves. And that night, three people, their pupils changed shape. One was square, one was a star shape, and one was a rectangle with a half moon on top of it. And then they went back to normal. And I am just freaking out, and I'm trying to act normal, Like, what the heck? Do you know what's going on here? I'm thinking about the other person. Do they have any clue what is happening here? And so I decided to meditate on it and just ask a question. And the answer I got was that they're hybrids. And so since then, I've told a couple of people about it, and they too have noticed it with other people. Now, whether they know they're hybrids or not, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess going a little further, I'm just going to assume that the quantum momentum is also asking, what is the purpose of creating these hybrids? Like, what would their duty be, to blend, to assimilate with us, or what would you think the reason would be?
Well, one theory is that there's a race of beings, they can't reproduce anymore. And so they interject their DNA into ours. And so you have a human mother, a human father, and then also an ET father. So you have two fathers in the situation with DNA that has been interjected, and then they're creating these beings so that they can save their race. That's one theory. And to me, that seems to be the most plausible one. In another case, a woman I spoke to recently that I interviewed on my radio show told me that she was taken on board a very large mothership, extremely large, really far away from here. And there were millions of hybrids on this craft. And they told her that they were seeding a planet and they were going to populate it with these hybrid people. And either all or most of them were actually her children.
That is wild. I hear stories about that as well. And I, with that being said, I've been wondering, I always wanted to know, and where is this mothership at, right? We know it's somewhere. It's got to be near. You would think it's somewhere near. But not a lot of people, there's only a handful of people that report ever seeing these motherships. Scary stuff. Let me see. Is this a question or a statement here? Okay, here we go. Did those aliens come eye to eye contact with the kids? The story you were telling earlier.
The human mothers came in eye to eye contact with the children. They were allowed to hold them or sit next to them and talk to them, or kind of communicate, but telepathically. There's never a word spoken. They're just, the children are brought in by some being who's non-human, and then they visit, and then they're taken away, and then the person is taken back to their home.
Yeah, I've had a couple witnesses that said that, and the babies would be maybe. It seems the consensus is about 6 months old, and the babies look fairly human. Then they put them in the mom's arms, and they hold the baby and play with it for a while, and then they take it away. I had one case where the witness said that she had it was a little girl looking alien, and it had kind of it kind of an alien face, but half human, half alien face, and it showed up in her bedroom. Late one night, they brought the little girl. There were 3 aliens that brought the little girl, let her visit there, and that's I heard that also. I don't hear as many of these as Margie does, because Margie is more involved in the abductions and contactees and experiencers, and I focus more on water. But I have had MUFON cases where I have heard that.
Okay, and it looks like SG Nav Spotter 310 is asking, did these crafts have any cocoons inside of them?
In the case where I interviewed this person recently, they had about 2 foot tall black cylinder containers with a window in the top, and she was able to look inside the window and see babies inside. She didn't see anything that would be described as a cocoon. They were metallic, and she was told telepathically that the babies were kept warm and they were comfortable. They weren't uncomfortable in that environment.
Okay, and I guess to the previous question, we have CS just put in the chat right now asking, how do these mothers feel?
The mothers,
yeah.
they always describe, well, some of them have a feeling that they don't want to be near whatever this child is, and they don't want to accept that they're their child. Others instantly know that it's their child, even though no one is telling them anything. There's no telepathic communication, and but they just have a feeling. And then if the child comes closer, they feel like, they might even recognize some facial features in the child that looks like them, but they somehow know. And I think sometimes the children are 3, 4, 5, 6 years old when they're shown. And I know in one case, 7 children were shown to the woman at the same time of various ages.
And I guess with that being said, because these, they come and they show you often hear that they do this, they show the mother their hybrid child and then take them away. So what do you feel like would be the purpose of that? To show them? Why not, why show them knowing there's going to be some sort of attachment there, and then go ahead and take them away? What would be your theory?
I think that's the biggest question, is why would they do that? And especially since that may be the one and only time they ever see the child, or the child sees its mother. That doesn't seem right. I mean, to us, because mothers want to be nurturing, and they naturally would want to take care of the child, and then it's being taken away from them again, and it's in effect being taken from them twice, because the first time they're in an incubator for a couple of months, and they know they're pregnant. Most of the time they know they're pregnant. They've had a pregnancy test, they've had it confirmed, and then all of a sudden there's nothing there. And so that's a traumatic thing for the mother to go through. But I don't think that they're purposely trying to hurt people or make them upset. And also, a lot of the mothers, if they get regressed, they have a recall that before they were born into this lifetime, they made an agreement to do this in order to help save their race of beings. But that's limited information. We just don't know.
That's the same with cow mutilations. Why did they bring the cow back? It would be so much easier to deal with. Okay, a rancher looks out there and his cow's gone. that's it. Maybe he thought it was somebody, I'm sorry, cattle rustling, but to mutilate the cow and then bring it back, and to mutilate a horse and bring it back. Like Snippy in the San Luis Valley, who actually was named Lady. But that's another big question too. We reason one way, and these beings have a different kind of reasoning, and we try and reason our emotions and our reactions and how we deal with things and compare it to them, and that's why it's not working, why we can't figure it out, and I don't think they can figure us out either. But those are two really big questions. Why did they let the mom see the baby? Why did they bring the animals back?
Yeah. I think unless it's a scare tactic, because they drain these things completely of blood and then just drop them. I would love for someone one day to get that video of that actually happening. That, and then also crop circles. Like those
Yeah.
are the two videos that I really wanted someone to get at some point here. I know Angels Are Alive. Nikki had made a statement here regarding the hybrid situation. She's stating, as an ET abductee myself, who has, I've been told, 26 hybrids. I remember many of my children. Every one of them is telepathic, all born, aka birthed on ships. So Angels Nikki Are Alive. She has an awesome YouTube channel as well. One thing I did see in the chat here that they have been talking about here recently is Valiant Thor. And Margie, I'm under the impression that you might be working on something related to that. If you would like to share anything on that now, definitely be a great time.
Well, it's kind of a long story, but long story short, I met Valiant Thor in 1985. He's actually been with me my entire life since I was a baby. And I'm currently writing a book on it. I'm trying to get it done by October this year. It's an amazing thing. He actually gave me X-ray vision in 1985. And that just means, that's what he called X-ray vision. I look inside the human body and it's like I'm actually in there. So when I do private readings, I scan the energy field and then the chakras and then inside the body. And I can also see inside machinery and vehicles. So I can do what we call an intuitive diagnosis. I can locate a problem. I may not know what it is all the time because I don't have any training in health field, but I'll know where there's a problem and what it looks like. And then I can explain it to that person. And it goes beyond that, but it's been a absolute wild ride with Thor.
So it sounds like almost like remote viewing of the body, almost is what that sounds like, which remote viewing is a subject we did not get into tonight. But that means that potentially we could have you guys back for Margie and Debbie part 2. I don't know how you guys feel coming back at a later time, and we could jump into that and a lot of other things. Yeah, if you'd be welcome to come back.
No, sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so what we'll do, where can everybody find you guys? Best place to find you. And anything else you would like for them to know?
Well, Margie, you can tell about the website. All our information's on there, right? My email address.
Yeah. DebbieDives.com is Debbie's website. unxmedia.com is my publishing site, and that's where Debbie's books are, mine, and a lot of other people's. The UnX Network that I own, we just hit a milestone with 30 shows. It's unxnetwork.com.
Awesome.
And we're also doing XCon this year in October in Springfield, Missouri. Big conference, 3 days. And all the information is on there. And then my website is margiek.com, and got all of my reading sessions that I do. I do private readings. I do work for law enforcement at no charge, helping with missing person and homicide cases. And and then Missouri MUFON's website is MissouriMUFON.org.
Okay.
And my email address, it's easy to remember, MUFON Diver, because I'm a scuba diver. I'm a dive instructor. So MUFONDiver@gmail.com. and they can ask me. Just email me. Happy to answer.
All right, great. So I'll be getting my data sent over to you guys, and maybe we can bring that up on the next show too. Hopefully, have some results or some things that were found out after the video's been analyzed. There's some other weird things in there too, for sure, that I can point out if the person hasn't found it. Other thing, yeah, with these conferences and things like that, hey, I just want to kind of throw it out there that, hey, available to come to one of those things if an invitation ever gets thrown out my way. I would love to go if that ever comes up as a thing. You have a slot that opens up. And
We'll
yeah,
keep you in mind.
definitely. With that being said, you guys have been awesome. I think we had a great conversation tonight. Yeah, you guys are great people. I love what you're doing with MUFON and cataloging all this data. I think is very important to the bigger picture, and kind of excluding the government, because all the data that they've collected we'll never see or be able to touch. So it's organizations like MUFON and then sites like New Fork as well, where we really are going to be able to dig in and kind of paint, or it'll help us complete the picture that we're putting together. So once again, thank you guys for coming. Yeah, I guess you guys have a great rest of your night. And I'm going to go ahead and talk to the people for a little bit. So you guys take care.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. Take care. All righty, guys. That was Margie K and Debbie Ziegelmeyer. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation and what we discussed today. I think we got into a lot of great things. Definitely there were some things I wanted to get into with the remote viewing, and they're involved with so many things that there were a million ways we could go. But I think, starting off with the MUFON conversation, it being the initial conversation, I think is a great thing, because a lot of people wonder what happens to the data once it goes over there. And then you have, these are directors at director levels within MUFON, which is rare that you get to have those conversations. So it was actually great to be able to pick their brains on that. Pretty awesome, guys. So yeah, so I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Oh, I didn't, Lil Cam. I didn't see it. Hold on. You didn't ask my question. I didn't see it. What I'll do for you personally, Lil Cam, is I'll reach out with your question. I didn't see it, so I must have missed it. So do this, Lil Cam. Go ahead and rewrite it for me. I will reach out on social media, and I will get that question answered for you, and I will reply to you directly and let you know exactly what was said, Lil Cam. So go ahead and post that again for me. And I got you. Don't worry about it. So with that being said, yeah. So what do you guys want to do tonight? Hey, what do you want to do? I think we'll jump into maybe a Lon Strickler story, see what kind of great stuff he has going on over there. We have about 25 minutes left in the show. What I'll do real quick, actually, is go ahead and run the Spaced Out Radio commercial. Okay, and Lil Cam, looks like Margie is in the chat right now, so you may be able to go ahead and ask that question right now and get it replied to right now. Deb from SAC Trivia Time. She wants trivia. You know what, Deb? Let me run these commercials. We'll read the story, and then maybe we'll do a little bit of that. So let me go ahead and get this commercial going. Give me just a minute as I go ahead and locate that. I think that's in here. Yep, here we go. All right, Spaced Out Radio swag commercial. We do not have ugly swag, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to prove it. So let's go ahead and check out the commercial, and here we go.
Guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have Spaced Out Radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com. Shop there today and make yourself look good.
We're going to run that back one more time, guys.
Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have spaced out radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com. Shop there today and make yourself look good.
All right. And Reno, don't forget, Reno is coming up. It's actually getting closer than ever, so let's go ahead and check out the Reno commercial.
You love your woo. It's time to make a commitment to the 3rd annual SOR Fan Party. This time, we're heading to Reno, Nevada, and the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort, May 10th through 12th, 2024. Tickets are $60 or $100 for VIP. With that, you get a free radio show. You get to hang out with celebrity guests from Spaced Out Radio, including our team, who are coming to hang out with you. You get to meet the entire team, like Science Bob, Merle, Melinda Leslie, Geraldine Orozco, and more. It's a weekend packed with adventure, and we want you there. After all, we're doing this for you. Find out more and get your tickets at info@spacedoutradio.com and book your hotels today at the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort in Reno, Nevada. Come join us for the SOR Fan Party, May 10th through 12th, 2024.
All right. Definitely make sure you join us in Reno, Nevada. It is going down, the Spaced Out Radio SOR Fan Party, the party that has been set up for you, the viewer. We want to meet you, right? We're going to do the 1-hour show on Friday with Jessica, then myself, then Dave. Then once that 3-hour block is done, we're going to go ahead and start the VIP party, which is going to be great, epic. I heard we have some great singers and dancers out there, so I guess you guys will be able to put that on display. Then Saturday, we are doing the ghost hunt with Merle out in Virginia City. Then right after that, we'll be doing the UFO Skywatch with Melinda Leslie. On Sunday, it'll be an open free-for-all, so whatever you guys decide to do is what we will do, period. And then after that, just take yourself back home, come back to Spaced Out Radio on that Monday and tell everybody how they missed it and how great it was and how they should make sure they end up going to the next one. So it's going to be epic. We can't wait to meet you. We'll sit down. We'll have dinner, breakfast, all together as a group. Like I said, one thing Dave is standing hard against is having breakfast for dinner, but I don't see anything wrong with that. I do it all the time. And I think that's something that we should be able to do. That's what we should be able to do. So with that being said, I do appreciate everything that's going on today. It's been another great show. I'm always shocked, at the quality and the level of the conversations that we have here. And I think when you piece all these conversations together, I think they really all go towards, that thing that moves this needle and that thing that'll get us to the place that we're trying to go. So let me go ahead and let me go ahead and do something for Deb, right? You see her message on the screen, trivia time, right? I guess we could probably do that. Let me see if I could find some data here. We'll kind of just hang out, have some fun for the last 20 minutes and get you ready for your work week, right? Hopefully you're going to have a great work week. Oh, yeah. There we go. Real jazzy, snazzy trivia music, spaced out trivia. Let me go ahead and get this message off the screen. As always, see, I got to get it all set up now, though, Deb. So, I have to get the YouTube feed up because there's been discrepancies on what shows up in StreamYard versus what shows up in YouTube. So, and to make this easy on everyone, what we are going to do is we're going to use some of the same, we're going to go back over the same ones, right? So this is a process for you to be able to retain the information. I think that's what you're going to end up doing. at the end of all this, you guys all should have the answers to every one of these questions and should know them like that. That's the goal, because winning is great, but then at the same time, you're winning by retaining knowledge and just knowing what it is that we're doing here, in the whole history of what it is that we're doing. Plus, you love cryptids, you love UFOs and all these historical sightings. Some of these, though, you have been shocked by. Me too as well. Some that I just like, really? Okay. So let me go ahead and bring up some of that trivia here. So give me just a second, guys. You guys are so patient, and I love that. And I do appreciate your patience. So let me dip into my bag of trivia here and see what I can get. Just get your fingers ready and make sure there aren't any voice to chatters like my guy Derek Galloway, who likes to do voice to text. Look, good luck all fast typers. Exactly. All right, it's getting heavy. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. I have so much stuff in here. Okay, trivia. All right. I wasn't prepared for this, Deb, but I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it specifically for you. Okay. All right. So we'll rock with these right here. Got 15 questions here. Let me see. All right. Pretty easy. This is easy. We're talking about elementary level, right? In what year was the famous Roswell UFO incident reported? I know they're going to kill me if I don't get the right chat up here, so let me do that. Okay, I see your answers there. Now I need to make sure I'm in YouTube to make sure that it sees just as you see it. Okay, so according to YouTube chat, looks like the winner of that one is Mothman. Mothman was 1947, which is definitely the year that the what I call the original government cover-up started, right? The original cover-up started in 1947, as far as we know, where the government went ahead and said, no, crash disk, and then turned around the very next day and turned that into weather balloons. And then in the 90s went ahead and said, no, actually it was this top secret program. We were dropping dummies in the desert. Project, I can't remember the name of the project, man. You know which one I'm talking about. But the answer is 1947. And Mothman, let me go ahead and make sure that I star your name there. Okay, great. All right, here we go. What does UFO stand for? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. What does UFO stand for? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, guys. Elementary level, let's go. Unidentified flying object. Mothman. Mothman has it again. Okay, love it. 2-0 for Mothman. Come on, guys. Let's challenge this. Give him a challenge. Let's not let him run away with it. Too easy, right, CS? That's why I'm assuming that the chat should be flooded with answers here. Yeah, Kira is not trying too easy. I know. Too easy. Okay, which U.S. government program investigated UFO sightings from 1952 to 1969? Which U.S. government program investigated UFO sightings from 1952 to 1969? Yeah. Blue Book. I don't know. I mean, I understand what you're trying to say, but Paramarv gave the fully correct answer, which would be Project Blue Book. Blue Book could be anything. Could mean a lot of different things, guys. But Paramarv got Project Blue Book, which is what it is. Project Blue Book. All right, let's go. What else do we got here? Let me make sure I didn't. Okay, great. All right, so okay, what is the term for a UFO sighting where there are multiple witnesses or corroborating evidence? What is the term for a UFO sighting where there are multiple witnesses or corroborating evidence? Okay, to Mothman, that would be deemed a mass sighting. You are correct. You are correct. And so, like I said, if you didn't get the answer the answer correct, or even answered it first, as long as you go home with the correct answer and retain the data, that's the important part. That's what it's all about. But Mothman did get that one, and he's running away with it. Let's see. Paramarv, come on, let's give him a challenge here. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Who's this? All right. What is the term for the study of unidentified flying objects and related phenomena? Okay. I do see the correct answer listed in the chat. And that is definitely going to be to Mothman. It is ufology. Ufology, this thing that we're in, right? This field that we're in, and the study of UFOs. Even though I petitioned to change that name to something else, I don't really like the term ufology, even though it's not really a bad thing, but it just sounds too much like Scientology. And we all know there is an extreme religious aspect of ufology that doesn't bode well for the conversation on the larger stage, right? So, yeah, c'est la vie. Let me see. All right, so what state is the home to famous Area 51, the classified U.S. Air Force facility often associated with UFO conspiracy theories? Okay, let me see. What do we got? All right, okay. Nevada is correct. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna put a shift in this. Go ahead. We got it for you, Mothman. So Mothman gets the answer correct again. It is Nevada for sure. Then we're gonna jump from UFO trivia into some cryptid trivia. But if you've seen the list of things that I have here, you would be shocked at how I'm even finding this stuff. Let me see. So far, Mothman is leading the pack. But we're going to switch it up and we're going to grab some cryptid trivia if I can find it in my list. Okay, let's see. What is this? Okay, here we go. So we're going to get some cryptid questions here for our viewers. Let's switch it up a little bit. Okay. So, what is the name of the mythical creature said to inhabit the Himalayan mountains, particularly in Tibet and Nepal? The mythical creature said to inhabit the Himalayan mountains, particularly Tibet and Nepal. Ooh. Mothman is crushing it, huh? Okay. An abominable snowman. I thought we switched it up. We get some. No, Mothman's on top of it. Okay. It is an abominable snowman or a Yeti. Right? That'd be the either or. Great job, Mothman. Let's see. What do we got? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna throw this one out here. I'm gonna be shocked, right? What cryptid, often portrayed as a large winged creature resembling a bat or pterosaur, is reported in the skies of Point Pleasant, West Virginia? Oh. Ha ha ha. Wait. So let me see. Unclear here because it would appear I don't know, guys. What are we doing here? Looks like if I'm looking at the chat, it would appear that CS says his name is Mothman. What were you referring to, CS? Were you answering the trivia question? Because if you were, then you would be absolutely correct. And you would be the first person to answer that. So, CS, his name is Mothman. Okay, that's the correct answer. That's the correct answer. What can I say? Great job, CS. All right. What is the name of the cryptid reporting in folklore, often described as a horse-headed creature with bat-like wings? Horse-headed creature with bat-like wings. I'll give you a clue. The state of New Jersey. The state of New Jersey. Jersey. Jeez. I didn't. Okay, there we go. New Jersey Devil would be correct. Paramore gets that one there. I'll get a couple more. You got a chance right now. Looks like Mothman's running away with it, but we have a couple people that could potentially take the crown tonight. So let me go ahead and okay. Yeah, so I saw this come up. Maybe someone will get this one. According to the Native American mythology, what cryptid is often described as a large, hairy, and man-like creature that dwells in the wilderness? Dwells in the wilderness, sometimes the Canadian wilderness to be exact. And okay, I'll give you a clue. You're not supposed to say its name according to Travis Moostus. All right. Wendigo. Wendigo would be the correct answer. Flat 6. Flat 6 got Wendigo. It's a Wendigo, guys. Saw somebody say that earlier for the other question. But you're incorrect. So Flat 6 takes that one. Let's go ahead and get to... Let's see. Yeah, this was the one that had a lot of hard answers on it, so back off of that. And we are back. Okay, let me see. Find a good one here. All right. In ufology, what is the term used for an area known for a high number of UFO sightings and mysterious phenomena? In ufology, what is the term used for an area known for a number of UFO sightings and mysterious phenomena? Let me see. I don't know, man. Gosh, I guess, well, let me read it again, because in ufology, what term is used? Okay, we'll take that. It was UFO hotspot, but we will take hotspots. Well, it looks like it's to Mothman. And are we just going to crown the guy tonight already? Or are we just going to call it a night and crown him? Because he is running away with the show, guys. He is destroying the game. And I can't find your right answer, though. I see it in the YouTube chat. Okay, here we go. There it is. To Mothman. Hotspots. Let me go ahead and star that. And let me see how much time we got. We only have a few minutes, so I gotta tally it up. So let me go ahead and give you this one here. And this kind of tunes into our guest tonight, right? This will tie into our guest. What organization is dedicated to scientific study of unidentified flying objects and is often cited in UFO research? What is the organization? All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap that one up. So Mothman comes through with the MUFON. As you know, both of our guests are affiliated with MUFON, a wonderful guest from tonight. To Mothman, I probably don't have to even count it, but I'm going to do so because more than one person got the right answer, got good answers tonight. And let me see. To Mothman, I'll just count everybody else first and to Mothman last. How about that? All right, Paranormal had 1, 2. We have CS who had 1. We had Flat 6. Flat 6 also had 1. The rest of them go to Mothman. So 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 answers correct tonight for Mothman. Ran away with the show tonight. Congratulations to Mothman. You, sir, are retaining data, and that's good to see. So, yeah, do appreciate that. I'm going to shake it up next time, though. I'm going to make sure that that we have some fresh ones there. This is spur of the moment because Deb from Sacramento requested it, so that's what we did. And Mothman is the champ tonight. So what I want to go ahead and do is get ready to get this thing wrapped up, right? So let me do a thing or two real quick here, actually. Everybody congratulates Moth, man. I'll go ahead and make sure your name is put up in fire emojis for the rest of the world to see. And actually, hold on real quick. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up tonight. So what I'm going to want to do is go ahead and thank all of our super chatters for the night. Looks like we had Deb from Sacramento. We had Lala Bright. We had Lala Bright again. We had Deb from Sac again. We had Carl Bittner. We had Aloha Dave 13. We had CS. And we do appreciate your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. I really hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Like I said, we're going to always do it big on the weekends and always have those great conversations. The ones that move the needle, that is the goal always and forever. If it doesn't move, then it's not anything that we should probably be doing. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this thing up. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to our space travelers. And since you are already a space traveler, just take that extra step, join the Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 per month. We do appreciate your support of Spaced Out Radio. And to all our viewers and listeners across the globe, thank you for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio, where we do what we do best. And what is that, you guys? We own the night. Another awesome weekend lined up for next week. You guys make sure that you're here. Check out Dave Scott tomorrow, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific until midnight. And then me right here Saturday and Sunday, 8 p.m. Pacific until 11. No call-in show this week. Gonna go ahead and get some rest, guys. You have a great rest of your night, and you all take care.